Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Off the Record with
Judah,
Kirk,
and Gabe.
Today we're going to be talking about DCKO number 2. So we just started doing kind of like live reaction almost. Like we're going over things that are currently coming out. And so DCKO is the inaugural thing, and so this is the second one. Also, you may have noticed we've been gone for 2 weeks. Blame Judah for everything.
blame Kirk for everything.
Yeah.
We were both sick.
We were both sick.
Intermittently.
Yeah. Like, he was sick, and then I was sick.
Which is what intermittently means.
Wow, thank you for that. That's so helpful, yeah. And we also, his schedule just perfectly was the opposite of my schedule for some of it, too. So that we just couldn't really do anything.
We apologize to y'all for that.
Yeah. But by the springtime, we're hoping to have a time every week set aside to make sure we can get this going. So,
Heck, even this upcoming month, you should probably be getting more stuff from us than ever before.
We're actually, right after we record this, we're going to record ahead our Star Trek episode.
That's correct.
Be looking forward to that one.
Yeah. With all that housekeeping out of the way, DCKO, we read the first issue. Who wants to give me a little summary of the story before we pick up with summarizing the second issue? Who has got, like, Cliff Notes summary? Gabe, you have any idea?
What happened? I mean, I can get the basic rundown. DCKO 1 intros into, like, a board game. They're just sitting there. It's Bruce, Clark, and Diana. They're all just playing a board game. And you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Darkseid comes in and just, like, obliterates everything. Not only on Earth, but everywhere.
Yeah.
And you go, what? And then
that was exactly my reaction. When I saw that, I was like, what?
And then it goes, you end up learning that that's the future, and that the time trapper
and the
quantum quorum, that's right, are all sitting there, and they are telling basically the entire Justice League and all of the superheroes, like, Darkseid's coming.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
7 days.
In 7 days, you gotta go claim the Heart of Apocalypse that is inside Earth.
Yes.
And so all of the superheroes go in. They use some fancy little technology stuff to try and trap the villains so that they stay out of the way. Leave a couple heroes behind to do stuff on Earth. Mm-hmm. And they dive in, and you get the most insane intro to a comic event series I've seen, with just deaths left and right as all the superheroes are racing to be one of the first 32 who get to move on.
Rest in peace, Ambush Bug.
Yeah.
That's the most impactful death.
Yeah, and then we had Batman and
Shazam. And Blue Beetle.
Yeah. So we had a lot of deaths right in the first story, and even like one of the big deaths. 3 of Batman and the Battle Beetle Bug thing.
And Batman's death revealing that the villains did not in fact stay imprisoned and are in the event, which is something that kind of picks up with this issue.
Right. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
most notably Lex Luthor.
Most notably Lex Luthor,
who
is...
And most comically, obviously, the Joker.
Which we have some fun stuff with.
Yeah. Don't worry. You're going to want to listen in.
Yeah. Okay, so Kirk, what happens in this issue?
Yeah, so one of the... It happens a little later in the story, but one of the things that we actually got completely right last time, and by we I mean me, and then telling you guys, and you're like, oh yeah, sure. So you guys should all in the comments go tell me that
Kirk.
I know what I'm doing.
Yes, because he does.
So Booster Gold, it is revealed towards the end that he is actually...
like final page 2. So spoilers if you haven't read this yet.
Yeah, don't listen to us if you haven't read it yet, but do come back. Is Darkseid.
Yes.
Right? And so we had talked about that as being a possibility in issue 1, and that was correct. So go us.
Yes.
But then also, it was just a continuation. This is round 2, right? So we're going from 32 players. Now they're going to half it to 16. Mm-hmm. There are 16 artifacts, and the page, the double
page spread with all the artifacts.
That shows all the artifacts and some of the reactions of the players. Mm-hmm. Really cool page, great artwork, and a good way to kind of reveal the challenge of the day. And so all the heroes and villains, were...
are searching for these artifacts in this graveyard, which we found out is a graveyard for some of the Elder Gods, which, as someone that's reading New Gods, big, like, lore dump there. I thought all the Elder Gods were trapped in the Source Wall. Clearly that's not the case, because we get to see them raised from the dead and used later in this.
Now, here's the thing, though. I thought that this was an alternate universe, and he said something like, oh, it took 11 trillion years, but it was like the blink of an eye because time moved the speed of light.
Maybe
here.
It is.
And so he just created like a parallel universe, let it develop, let everybody die. There's a different history to it. And then they're just using those.
It's also possible, though, that it's similar to the Absolute universe, and he created the universe and then just shoved the Elder Gods into it to trap them, similar to how he forced Booster Gold into the Absolute Universe for a while.
There are a couple of different options for how it is that don't necessarily contradict what you were originally thinking.
And I think it's a lore situation where it all works out and we're probably not going to ever learn.
Yeah, that's
because this is an event and they need to do cool things for an event, but you also have to let them kind of go back to normal after the event. Or, as normal as post-event can be, right?
Yeah. There's a new status quo coming from the event, probably.
But it won't necessarily totally upend everything, like all the new gods being totally KIA or MIA. Or
the realm that took us 11 billion years to construct, but was carved inside a microscopic white hole where time moves like light. A blink and it exists. History and all. Okay, so
history and all makes it seem like he just let a universe naturally develop and then die. Mm-hmm. And then what's left of it is where this battle is taking place.
Yeah, which is pretty dope setting for this scavenger hunt, basically.
Very much, And it gives the opportunity for such an open world kind of environment and like all the heroes and villains actually spreading out pretty far. Yeah. And I think they actually do. I think they get a good grasp of the scale of this world.
Because we get to see a whole bunch of heroes and villains interacting and fighting over these artifacts all over the place in different areas that seem like the same place but like a little different. And it's nice. You can kind of like build a map in your head with it.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
So you want to go over the artifacts? So the artifacts that they're set out for the heroes to find, the Heart of Apocalypse kind of outlining the rules for this one. There's 16 of them. There's the Blue Beetle Scarab, which kind of makes sense why they took Blue Beetle off the board, because if he already had a Scarab.
Right.
Yeah, he kind of already get through. The God Killer Sword, right? We got the Whirlagog. I don't know what that one is.
Let me see.
Whirlagog.
Whirlagog?
Yeah, Whirlagog.
Whirlagog. We got the Whirlagog. Don't know what that one is. We have the Adam's Belt. Makes sense why Adam's not in this.
Yep.
We have a Mother Box. We have Psycho Pirate's Medusa Mask. We have Thor's Hammer, which is kind of funny because you wouldn't think that.
Right, this is DC.
Comic.
Yeah.
You have Bane's Venom. Again, makes sense why Bane's not in this. You have a Speed Force ring. They have a whole. I think it's there's power rings, but it's really like the Black Lantern ring is the one that gets found in this.
It's all of them. So that's actually something that I wanted to bring up.
So does that mean there's more than?
Yeah. So it's all the rings, meaning technically speaking, and they allowed them to be split up. So technically speaking, more than 16 people could have won. Because if each person got a ring. But all the rings were right next to each other.
16 people find an artifact, which would help explain the thing that Gabe was asking about earlier before we recorded this, which we'll get to when it happens in the story. That would help explain that.
It would, yeah. Perhaps. But because specifically the black ring, the death ring, is what was found by Luthor.
Well, I think that's
but somebody else
can dive into later.
Yeah, somebody else found all the rest. But yeah, we'll get to that. It's all towards the end that all happened. So what's the next one?
The Genie Pen, which is, I think, a Johnny Thunder, like, classic Golden Age, I think, Justice Society superhero.
That would make sense.
Yeah. The Claw of Horus. Don't know where that one's from. There's like two of these.
It's like a Hawkeye thing.
Hawkeye's Marvel.
Or, no, sorry, Hawk.
Hawkman
and Hawkwoman.
Yeah.
Because so then a little later, and we'll get to the rest of the artifacts as well. But a little while later, it says like some people have a slight advantage in that they can like sense them or like find them.
Mother Box.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and then other people like Lex Luthor with the technology can find them that way. Yeah. And so, it's not exactly a fair level playing field here.
Yeah, people have different levels of advantage.
But so this is one of the ones where it's Hawkeye.
Hawkman.
Hawkman is in this. At this point, he's in this, and he's drawn to it. He can find it more easily.
Yeah. So then we have the Soul Taker Sword, which is from Katana, and famously so if you've ever seen the first Suicide Squad movie. The Lasso of Truth, which is one I thought Wonder Woman was get, but not the artifact that she does get. Mm-hmm. And then you have the Cosmic...
Which is cool. It mixes things up a bit.
It does. Then you have the Cosmic Rod, which I've been reading Mongol stories from, pre-Crisis, and Starman is in a lot of those. And I did not know who Starman was until I started reading those, so I know what the Cosmic Rod is, because every Starman has a Cosmic Rod. And then the last thing, which we get a reveal for at the end, is the mystery item, which we will talk about in just a second.
Yeah.
So we get all of our heroes, they're going off, and they're searching, and we get some great interactions. So... from this section of it, when we get these heroes searching for items, is there any particular interaction moment panel that stood out to you? Let's start with Gabe. Like,
yeah.
Which one of these interactions while they're looking for the items?
I'm going to save some of the, like, crazy ones for a little bit later. But one that I thought was just really cool was right off the bat between Etrigan and Wonder Woman. How they used Etrigan's, like, kind of poetic style.
Right, yeah.
And then even through Wonder Woman's response to still end with the rhyme.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
It was fun and creative, but also still maintained, like, the cool, serious battle type vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a good moment. I really enjoyed that one. Kirk, what moments kind of stood out to you in this?
Yeah, so I've just flipped to it. It's the one with, what's this character? The starfish.
Starro,
yeah. So this one was really interesting because you kind of got a couple of psych out moments of you thought something was going to happen, but it wasn't that. So first Starro attacked Bane. Lobo, sorry.
Who has Bane Venom.
Right. So he attacks Lobo, and then you think, oh, Lobo's going to lose this. But then Lobo quickly, he's like, no, actually, I win this. Mm-hmm. But then Starro. Gosh, I need to get these names down. Starro is like, haha, wait, I'm actually regenerative because I'm starfish. And that's what they do.
And
if you've ever watched SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
So, obviously, that's where your mind would immediately go. Yeah. So then he's like, okay, so now I'm going to like take over all these different people. And so you're like, oh, wait, is Starro just going to, like, absolutely dominate this round? And then all of the sudden, he just gets lightning to the face, and it's like, oh, never mind, actually, he's not. So that was really interesting, because you're like, where is this even going to go? Like, what direction are they going to take this? And you don't know until they just make it final towards the end.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this moment, because it does take out, like, some of the characters I was like, how are they going to get, like Firestorm and Power Girl, both historically pretty powerful characters.
Right.
So them not making it to the next round kind of seems like, okay, how are they going to do that? But it makes sense with Starro basically taking them off the board, taking control of them, messing with it.
And the best way to do that is to have it kind of come out of nowhere, which is what happens with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can like find logical flaws or like ways that shouldn't have happened, or it doesn't make sense for their characters to have been out like that. But if it just comes out of nowhere, then you can't really say, like, oh, but logically or in their character or whatever, because it comes out of nowhere. And so it's a good way of kind of upending expectations without having any pushback on it.
Yeah, so there's, like, a reason for it. Yeah. Yep.
It's also just the way they did this round as not doing it like a one-on-one, they have to fight one other superhero sort of situation like we expected with a bracket. Meant that some of those more powerful characters, just because maybe they were a little bit slower than somebody else. They got eliminated.
Or they had like 3 people going after the same thing, and so 2 of them team up against the more powerful.
It's not just about, the strength of powers or their intellect or whatever. It's...
Because it'd be Superman wins every single round and then goes to the end and wins everything, right?
Yeah,
but we obviously don't want it to be that simple.
Still probably going to happen.
Yeah, but we don't want it to be that simple. There has to be actual story to get there.
But let's get to
this Hold on, though, because we're about halfway through the episode with some edits right now. So quick reminder to like the video, subscribe, to ring the notification bell, comment if you have anything to say. If you don't have anything to say, comment anyway.
Yeah. Give us your thoughts. Give us a review of the issue if you've read it. Give us your thoughts on the events, the tie-ins, which we might have a whole episode devoted to just the tie-ins.
Yeah.
If you guys like this.
Yeah. And make sure you go over to our Instagram as well. It should be under the same name, off the record _JK, I believe is what it is. And give us a follow over there. We put up the shorts that we also put up on YouTube. We put over there, and so you can get them in a couple of different places, actually. So make sure you do all those things. And Judah.
Okay, so the moment that I flipped to the page in the comic, and everyone's thinking about the moment on one side of the page. I want to talk about the moment on this other side of the page because it hurts me. Because I love the Terrifics, and both Metamorpho and Plastic Man are on the Terrifics. So this is literally like a friendship kind of ended situation. But I do like Stretchy Guy versus Elemental Guy. It was pretty good, and it makes me sad that Metamorpho's out, but it does make sense that Plastic Man has moved forward, even though I was not quite expecting
Plastic Man didn't.
He didn't?
Neither of them did.
I'm pretty sure.
Because they literally both like,
I thought they like defeated each other.
They like killed each other.
No.
It was like kind of wild.
Yeah.
So let's look at that page again. Because that's what they were saying is, I got you. And then the other one's, no, I got you. And then the one was, no, you don't, I got you. And then they both just kind of die.
he boils him and then they both
basically
dissipate.
Yeah. It disintegrated each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, never mind.
Actually.
But it actually makes the moment a lot more interesting.
Yeah,
now.
it does.
Yeah.
So they both disintegrate each other, which is pretty great. And then we get...
Not for them, but...
Yeah. The one moment that probably is most talked about I've seen for this issue, which is the Joker moment in here.
Yeah. Well, there's two, actually, that I think are worth talking
about. The parental advisory one and the other one. And the one that maybe should have as well, because it's kind of gross.
Yeah. So, first of all, Joker gets Adam's belt and grows super massive, and everyone's like... Gigantus says... Joker, what are you doing? We're on the same side here. And then he proceeds to eat like half of the villains and then a couple superheroes as well.
Yeah.
And there's like the parental advisory explicit content.
That's after he steps on Giganto, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, which also has the parental advisory.
It's very funny. And it's also a quite in character Joker moment. And explains how he's probably going to make it very far. If you can get like augmentations, enhancements, things like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't make me interested in what's going to happen with him and the Red Hood fight, which we kind of get set up later.
Yeah.
But that was a fun moment. I did want to point out, I feel like this is a reference to what happened in the 90s. DC and Marvel had something called the Amalgam Universe, where Wonder Woman and Storm were like amalgamized into one character, who also had Thor's hammer. So I find it funny, and I think this is a reference to, which I could be stretching here. I think this is a reference to it when she gets the artifact of Thor's hammer, which I think is pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's what's used later for Starro.
Yes, it is what's used later. Well, it meets right here, yeah.
Oh, is it right there?
Yeah, that's when she gets the Thor's hammer.
And
Oh, yeah, I see it. It's kind of hidden from me, from my perspective right here.
No. And then I wanted to talk about the Luthor and Superman interactions.
Yes. And this is the most discussed piece of this that we have before starting recording. We're not 100% sure the implications of it.
Yeah, but I love the moment that we get where Superman is like, his sole goal when this all happens is to stop Luthor. And we kind of get like the traditional thing about Luthor is challenged in here and kind of changed, right?
Yeah.
So like it's a part of his monologue. He's like, I always thought I hated you because you did too much. You stopped humanity from realizing its potential and saving us from failure. He's like, but I was wrong, and I get that now. And he's like, Superman, you're doing too little. Which is kind of a thing. There's kind of a theme of control, even with the opening scene flashing back to that board game, where like, what job would you have if you didn't have the job you currently did, and if you weren't a superhero? Right. And Bruce says that Superman should be Preston, like he should set an example, have the power and control, and Superman doesn't like that idea, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's this interesting thing that we get set up that it's like Superman doesn't want to embrace having some kind of controlling power.
Yeah. Well, but that's what's interesting is that's a little bit more logical of a problem to have on Luthor's behalf with Superman. Like just being like, oh, you're holding us back, you're whatever. It's like you can come up with reasons for that to be true, but it's not really. Like it's just very you're a supervillain and you got to have a reason. But this reason actually makes a lot more sense, especially because Bruce kind of agrees.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Early on, we're shown that Bruce kind of agrees with that.
Yeah, so he's realizing that it's not just villains have this perspective. Like, there's people that can be in the right and see that he has the ability to lead well. And his fear is that if he does take that leadership role, he will abuse, like, it's the fear of being king. It's like, if I become king, will I be a tyrant? You
if he's King Omega.
Yeah.
And that's kind of his goal in this, is to be that. And, of course, Luthor calls out, like, you're just going to make the universe exactly how it was before, which isn't exactly bad, but also it's not like the universe is perfect. And if you do have the opportunity to fix some things, should you?
Yeah.
And Superman would say no, but Batman and Lex Luthor would both say, maybe a little bit at least, or to varying extents, but...
Well, and I think that continues the arc of Lex Luthor that we've gotten from the Superman series prior to DCKO of him, kind of changing and actually maybe being a hero. Yeah. It's like, in his whole monologue, like, his big point for Superman is like, Superman, we've got this opportunity to just take this universe and reshape it. That's the whole point of it. Why don't we reshape it better?
Yeah.
More, like, not more evil, like Darkseid wants, but more good.
Yeah.
And like that's new for a Luthor or a villain character to want a more good world, not just technologically, but like morally.
Yeah, exactly. But then it comes in the question that obviously has to naturally develop from this, which is absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah, and this is the most absolute power one can have.
This is true.
So what do you do with that? But do you want to give that to a person like Luthor, or do you want to give that more to a person like Superman?
Well, and then it raises the question, if it corrupts absolutely, does it really matter?
Yeah, and that might actually come into at the end of issue 1, where we're saying it kind of seems like this is rigged. Like, he's a player in the game. Yes, we know that he's Booster Gold now, but it also seems like Darkseid is also kind of manipulating it, and we'll get into that with
Apocalypse.
We'll get into that with Superman's and the mystery artifact in just a second. Yeah. But then even the absolute power corrupts absolutely maxim is if absolute power absolutely corrupts everything, that includes Superman, that means it doesn't matter who Darkseid and the Heart of Apocalypse, it's still going to be the same thing. Yeah. They're still going to win. It's rigged because it's absolute power. So we could also see some of that. But do you want to get into the Superman thing?
Yeah, so brief summary of some things that happened, right? We talked about the Wonder Woman getting Thor's hammer thing. We have some Zatanna and Etrigan and getting their artifacts. And then we have Luthor, and Star Sapphire comes to confront Luthor when he gets to the Power Rings. And he chooses the Black Lantern ring, and she's like, oh, there's no dead people. We're not in a graveyard. And he's like, look around you. This is a dead universe.
Yeah, and it's an 11 billion-year-old universe, and we're surrounded by corpses.
Yeah, and so he raises the dead, and we have this interaction where Cal has lost his hand. Luthor cut it off, if you missed that part earlier.
I did miss it.
Okay, so he's holding his hand, and he's, like, watching around him as his friends are falling. And Supergirl's like, hey, take this artifact. You gotta go on, Cal. And Captain Atom comes in, and what's just funny, because we know that Superman's going to face off against Captain Atom in his one-on-one match. This is going to give Superman some motivation to win, and also what happens at the end of this, where Captain Atom punches Supergirl and steals the artifact and knocks her out of the competition, which pisses off Superman royally, right? And then he sees what Lex is doing, and he sees all these people getting defeated, and he kind of flashes back to the thing, the board game earlier, and kind of has this realization, right? It's like, if there is an absolute power, who could have it better than me? Because, like, that's kind of the whole Luthor argument, the whole Batman argument. So, what he does, and he kind of figures out what the mystery artifact is. Yeah. Which is the Omega power, and which is what Darkseid has, right? And so, he follows in the example of Darkseid, and pushes in the kryptonite shards, and kills himself, and it says, Clark and Superman, only for the next page to be Superman with Omega power saying Superman is. And one of the most famous things from Darkseid in every appearance is Darkseid is.
Yeah,
like,
which is kind of a ripoff of the Bible as well, of I am.
Yeah, it's an I am statement, right? So it's like, it's kind of interesting. And so Superman gets his Omega power and just wipes the floor with the elder gods that Luthor raised basically from the dead. And we get this interaction between them, and then it's kind of like a Saved by the Bell moment when the 16th artifact is discovered by. And
it's also comedic, which is kind of cool because Guy Gardner nobody's there, and it's of course with the Whirligog.
Yeah, Whirligog.
With the thing we have no idea what it even is.
Yeah, we don't know what it is.
And it's just Guy Gardner goes in and he's like after failing to get like 4 other artifacts in the comic, he's like, I got it. And it ends.
Yeah, and it ends.
And it totally ruins like this powerful moment between Superman and Lex Luthor. It's just like, I found the artifact, yay!
Maybe ruins, maybe delays. I think.
Maybe delays.
Well, no, but ruins in a good way. Yeah, like it's like, and we're not doing this quite yet. Come back later. Yeah. Buy DCKO 3.
Exactly.
And then you get the nice spread of the people who move on.
Which I like these pages.
Yeah. So and it's not. It's more or less like what I would have expected to happen.
Yeah.
Like obviously you can't quite predict everything because they're trying to be random with it almost. But it's like. I kind of predicted most of this.
Yeah. So Joker moves on, obviously, which Joker is supposed to face off against Red Hood, who also moves on. I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? Because next month is Fight Month, if you didn't know. December, there will not be an issue of KO. There will be there'll be 2 issues every week of December that are each of the fights.
Right.
Because there's 4 weeks in December, and there's 8 fights. So I'm excited. So Joker moves on, Etrigan moves on, which I'm excited for that. Jay Garrick Flash, Superman, as we figured out, Hawkman, interesting, Lobo, who has Bane,
and that's a fun one to have in there. Still.
Yeah, Zatanna, Guy Gardner, who we talked about at the end, Lex Luthor, of course,
right,
Harley Quinn. That's kind of a given at this point.
Yeah.
We talked about Red Hood a little bit. Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Captain Atom, Swamp Thing, and Cyborg. So those are our 16 champions that are left remaining. So we do get, Kirk talked about it. So I'm interested. It's going to be Darkseid going up against the Quantum Quorum because Darkseid is super powered now. Of course, Absolute Universe, Omega Energy, King Omega kind of stuff.
Right.
But the people in the Quantum Quorum, Time Trapper, World Forger, Gorilla Grodd with Martian Manhunter powers, who's now called Gorilla God, right? All of those people are like the same kind of power level as Darkseid was originally. So I think there's going to be some fight in the background about it with them.
Although the interesting thing is the indication of this literally the last panel on the last page is when Booster Gold Darkseid basically karate chops Time Trapper.
Kind of like
right
Invincible, Omni-Man just cut the head. Type.
Like right in the neck, and it's got this sound effect where it's crunch.
Yeah.
That makes it seem like he might be dead.
But there is still Gorilla God, I guess.
Right, Gorilla God and World Forger. So it'll be interesting to see that.
So this has been great. This was a really fun issue.
We want to...
Yeah, unexpected. We want to talk about the fight
Just
month.
Mention them, yeah.
Yeah, so fight month, we have round 1, which is Superman versus Captain Atom, which will be its own issue, released called Superman versus Captain Atom. We have round 2, which is Aquaman, number 12. It's going to be Aquaman versus Hawkman.
So an interesting friendship.
Interesting friendship kind of fight. We have round 3, which is Wonder Woman versus Lobo.
Right.
Which should be pretty epic.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
We have round 4, which can be found in Titans 30, and that is Cyborg versus Swamp Thing?
Yep.
Yeah, Cyborg versus Swamp Thing. We have round 5, Harley Quinn versus Zatanna, and based off of the solicits, you might be surprised who wins this. Round 6, the Flash number 28, which is Jay Garrick versus Guy Gardner. So your lesser-known Flash and your lesser-known Green Lantern are both battling it out.
Which but kind of two of the more fun versions of the characters, too. Yeah,
definitely. And you have round 7, which is Superman 33.
6-7.
Yeah, I know, crazy. Which is going to be Lex Luthor, who is very technologically based, versus Etrigan the Demon. And
it's very magic based. So that's going to be a fun one.
It is. It's also going to be drawn by the guy that draws Absolute Wonder Woman, Hayden Sherman. So I'm very excited to see the art.
That's a very artistically good one.
Yeah. And then the last one that we're going to get...
That we all want
is Red Hood versus the Joker, which is... I don't want to say a rematch, because... when Jason Todd was Robin, he was tied up and beaten and exploded. So, it wasn't really a fair fight. He was also a child.
You could say revenge, though.
Yeah, you could say revenge.
On both ends, because...
Yeah, because someone didn't die, and
someone didn't die, and Joker's been sitting here trying to kill Robins for, ever, and they just never die.
Yeah.
And so he's like, finally, maybe I can actually kill one.
Yeah, so I'm interested. Especially with some of the stuff revolving around the Red Hood book, how this would look. So, last thing, I want to go around. Give me, what do you think is going to happen in this fight month? Give me, based off of what you know, predictions for one of the fights. What do you think is going to happen in this next kind of month of time? Because we're going to come back probably late December, early January with a issue on all of the fights in fight month. Yeah. So, Kirk, go ahead. Give me one thing you think.
I think one thing that is pretty obvious, though they are also really upending a lot of expectations, so maybe not as obvious as it seems. I think Superman is still moving forward in this.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Of course, they, like I said, they're kind of going wherever they want with this, and so they could change the entire plot line halfway through, and it might make perfect sense to do that.
Yeah.
So, but that's going to be my prediction, is what everybody's thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I know one of my early predictions is I've kind of expected in not fight month, but the round after, a Superman versus Guy Gardner thing as the point where Superman snaps and maybe goes a little bit less good, because that's kind of what DCKO 1 was setting up. But the fact that they had that with him claiming the Omega power
already
and now, completely changes it. Like,
I think
I'm
it
not
might be a
sure
Superman
anymore.
versus Jay Garrick
It
fight
could
now.
be a Superman v. Garrick now because they're like friends.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
Garrett could be trying to like pull him back a little bit. Like if he
Exactly.
goes a little too far. Now he needs to go a little too far if he's
Well,
going to
but
win.
there's
But then
too far.
Yeah, and so it could be something like, hey, yeah, like you do have to go this far, but like no further. You
Yeah.
just have to do the minimum to still win.
Yeah. So I think I'm hopeful, because unless DC is lying, I'm hopeful that Zatanna might be Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Which would be insane for most people, because Harley Quinn is, according to numbers, the 4th most popular character that DC owns.
Right.
But they also just killed Batman last time.
That's true.
Yeah.
Although, honestly, and it's a lot of maybes, but what would be really, really exciting for me to see is Red Hood win his battle and Harley Quinn win hers, so that you get like a revenge situation because Red Hood killed Joker.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a
It would
cool
be-
dynamic
it would be
in the next
quite
one.
odd.
Like, that could be interesting to explore.
I don't know if they're going to eliminate Wonder Woman this... Like, I know they already eliminated Batman, but...
Yeah, you can't eliminate 2 of the big 3.
Yeah.
Well, not
this
until a
early. Not
little
this
later.
early,
Like
yeah.
we just finished number 2. We're just about to get number 3 in Fight Month. Like
Yeah.
it's a little early.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was exciting. Give us... How has the event progressed? I know we gave a rating after the first issue. What do we rate solely the second issue?
Out
of 10.
So I don't remember what I put for the first
You gave
one.
it like a 9.
So I put it somewhere like a half a point above. So if I gave it a 9, I'd give it like a 9.5 because I think it's going in a really good direction with a really interesting story.
Yeah, that's awesome. Gabe, where are we at?
I would probably go a half point lower than what I rated last time. I want to say I did a 9.5 last time, so I'd do 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it was still really, really interesting, but there wasn't as many, like, you know, gut-wrenching, just grabbing moments where you're like, oh.
Except for the Joker ones.
You know, like, the Jokers, they were intense, but it wasn't like a killing Shazam before he can transform moment, you know?
Yeah.
Or a harpooning Batman as he's giving Superman, like, a riveting speech. Like,
Yeah. That's
it's
fair,
still really
actually.
good, though. I mean, 9 is not
not-
most
yeah.
comics.
I think I probably said 10 out of 10, 9.5, something like that. I'm going down to a 9. I have my thoughts on this issue is kind of like, it is not quite what I expected. It's really good, but there's ways I can see it succeeding really well, and there's also ways I can kind of see it catastrophically failing. Because after the first 2 issues, we've had payoff for some of the stuff they've already set up, but we also feel like we have some setup for things that are coming down the line. I don't know if we have enough pages, enough time to explore it in only this 5 months of event, right? So, I mean, it's just, I'm interested. And also, mildly, like, my interest in this has got diminished from some of the tie-ins, which Gabe and I have read.
Right.
I will
And I
say,
have not.
if you want to read the tie-ins, pick up the Superman tie-ins, pick up the Justice League Unlimited tie-ins, pick up Night Fight if you want to see what's happening with Batman. But, like, you don't really need to read Flash. You don't really need to read
Titans isn't
Titans.
super great.
Aquaman is good, but it's really not a tie-in. It's just kind of a part of the run. Though this issue coming out in December is going to be one of the fights.
Because December they paused all of their standard, like the
Regular
main
series to-
line series
to have fights.
to have
in them.
fights.
Yeah. So, with that being said, we are kind of a consensus. This is pretty good. You should pick it up if you haven't checked it out and made it this far. You've gotten a lot of spoilers for the issue, but it's worth checking out. The art from Javi Fernandez is really good.
And we only got like maybe half of what's actually in
yeah.
there. There, it's packed.
And
Yeah,
make
there's
sure,
a lot.
like, if you have read it, if you've read both of these, like, make sure to comment what you think is going to happen in the upcoming fights, especially for Fight Month.
Yeah.
Like, your predictions, anything like that, and maybe even who you think the final King Omega is going to end up being.
Yeah.
Like,
110%.
I want to know.
Yeah, we do want to know. And we will respond to your comments, as proven countless times.
I can count them.
Yeah. No. With that being said, we really enjoyed this. This issue was done by Scott Snyder, Josh Williamson, Javi Fernandez. Give them credits.
Yep.
That being said, do all the stuff. We already mentioned it earlier. If you enjoyed the issue, leave a comment. With that, I say good morning, good evening, and good night. Bye-bye.